If you watched my last video, it was dark, you couldn't see much, but I went out and pulled a prank on my daughter and grandson camping out on Caney Creek. So the next day I took the drone out. I wanted to get some daylight footage out there. It's been a while since I got to do a drone video because of COVID and all this stuff, can't travel, and you can only film the same thing so many times before it really gets boring. So I haven't got to shoot anything different lately. So while I was out there, I went out the next day after that and flew the drone, and got some video and stuff, which I'll show you here in a minute. And while I was there, I was talking to my daughter. She's camped out there an extra day. We were talking about where the old iron bridge used to be because something wasn't right. Where we were on the creek was not where the old iron bridge was on Caney Creek, but on the map this shows us Caney Creek. And something just didn't jive right. When I was a kid back in the 60s, there was an old iron bridge on Caney Creek. It washed out. I remember it very well because it come a big storm, the bridge washed out, and we went out to see it, after the waters went down, see the old iron bridge down and all that. And it went to a little place called White Run. After that, in the 70s, a lot of us as we teenagers, as we grew up, and young adults go out there where the old iron bridge was and party, and we had a rope in a tree when the water was high enough, and there's a hole there you could swing off the rope and into the water and swim and stuff like that. Where the bridge was, sometimes the water level was so low you could walk across it without barely getting your feet wet. But if it, a lot of rain, it was a little bit higher. So it got to me to thinking about, where I was at the bridge, the old iron bridge, and where they were camping was two different spots. So I got to thinking, was that really Caney Creek that we were on at the old iron bridge? And come to find out, actually it was. And I'm going to show you how I found out what I didn't know, basically. I'm going to switch to the computer here, and if you look here, I did this on Google Maps with the measuring tool. So I measured the distance, and this is the path of Caney Creek as it is today. And it comes, this is about 1 3/8 miles, a little over a mile north of Old Layton. Old Layton's right in this area. And it comes off, Caney Creek comes off the Rough River, which comes right through here, and it comes in right down this path here. And it ends over here just a little bit outside of Caneyville. Caneyville's right in this area here. After here, it just you got a North Fork and a South Fork, and they just go out and end. So the measurement on it, this is not exact, was 22.5 miles, say, which is actually, it's more than that because there's parts where the tool, didn't follow all the curves exactly. So we'll say it's a 25-mile long creek, or stream as it's classified as I found out from the USGS. Now, so it comes out of Old Layton from Rough River, down by Horse Branch, through White Run, which is in this area right here, on around and out, over toward Caneyville. And I will show you some maps here that confirmed what I kind of suspected. Because I went back. This is how Caney Creek looks today. Here's White Run. I guess White Run used to be a little village or something. And Caney Creek comes down around by Horse Branch, by White Run and on toward Caney, on around, you know. I'm going to show you 1971. They had come through and dredged Caney Creek years ago. I guess it was late 70s, early 80s possibly. I don't remember exact year. But when they did, what I didn't realize is they changed the path of Caney Creek. Because in 1971, this is what Caney Creek looked like. And White Run is right here. And the old White Run Lane where the bridge washed out, the road came from like what we call Arnold Leach Road as I was growing up. White Run Road, or Lane, came, as they call it now, came down, and it crossed the Caney Creek right here. And the road just kind of followed around and came out and crossed the railroad tracks right here and come out on US 62 right here. So this is what it looked like in 1971. The road ended here and pretty much ended here. Or I guess actually you could have, at 71, the road probably did come around to here. There was just nowhere to go. It's the farmer's field. So then we step back to 1925. And at this time, Highway 62, I don't think was Highway 62 at the time, because you see it's so much more crooked. It's not straight. There's no numbers. It looks more like just the trails. And in 1925, it was quite different then. You had schools down here at Leach School at that time. Here's Horse Branch. Here's a creek coming around. And at that time, White Run Lane came through, crossed the creek, and I just highlighted the road from the original map. It followed the creek around, crossed railroad tracks here, and there was a little creek on this side of the road coming through here. So this is where the old iron bridge was that washed out. The blue is Caney Creek today as it comes through White Run, as you can see. This is White Run. And the yellow is how the creek used to run before they straightened it and dredged it. You can see it crooked all the way around through here, back around, and I think the bridge was right in this area here. So this is recent satellite video. I colored the Caney Creek as it is today in the blue. This is Highway 62. This is White Run Lane, what's left of it there. I'll show you a video of what that road looks like in a minute. This is what it used to go. And this is the road, White Run Lane on the other end now that comes off Arnold Leach Road. It kind of just dead ends here. It does two-track in a little bit to here. This the tree line is the old creek. Now they don't call it Caney Creek anymore on the map. But I thought that was kind of interesting, because you get my age, you see something like that and you just wait. Is my memory failing? You know, I thought there was something wrong with me there for a little bit. And I knew they had dredged it, but I didn't know they had actually changed the path of Caney Creek. So it's kind of interesting to know. So today's video, hope you enjoy it. I'll show you a little bit of where they were camping on White Run there, and then I'll do a drone video with some music and the scenery of the area. Okay, this is Highway 62, and I'm fixing to turn into White Run Lane from, I guess you'd call it the north end, from Highway 62. As you turn in here, this is actually somebody's driveway up to a point here. You can see it's a little washed out. There goes the kitty cat. my timing on my dash cam is off. The date and time is wrong. I had hated to use the dash cam here because it's only 720K. It doesn't have a very good picture. But now I've passed the house, and you can see this is just a pretty old 2-track trail back in here. Now, as you get up here, you will see that the road's washed out. You can see the creek on the left, which it originally followed, but it washed out here, and now there's a creek on going to the right too. And I would not take a car down in here. Now here I have switched to the GoPro. I stuck it to the hood. This is further down in the trail. I should have stuck it to the top. And as you go through here, there's a farmer's field on the right, creek on the woods to the left. You'll come up, as you come up over these railroad tracks here, which kind of feels funny because you can't see the road on the other side as you're coming over. And right to the left, there's a railroad bridge. If you look down the railroad a little bit, there's a bridge right there on the left. If you watched the video where I went in and scared them, my first firecracker I set off was right there at the edge of the creek. And there's a trail that goes down to the campsite. And I came along that trail and every so often set them off. Set off a firecracker and scare them. And if you look down, if you see where that little road curves to the left, that's where their campsite is. You know, that's the road, and there's the creek that runs under the railroad track, comes out in the Caney Creek there. And there's their campsite. You can tell where I cleaned it off with the weed eater there. Next time I go out, I'm going to clean out some more for them. So I just kind of, they didn't know I was out there, so I just kind of came in, and of course they knew it was me once they seen the drone. So anyway, from this point on, I'm just going to give you some scenic drone footage with some music. Hope you enjoy it. So for all my old friends like me who are local to the area here, we're not going crazy. Caney Creek has changed. And for all you young people out there, a little bit of history on Caney Creek. If you like to go out there fishing, run four-wheelers and stuff, you now know that Caney Creek has changed since the time before you were old enough to do any of this stuff. Just kind of interesting how the man changes the landscape and how much it can change in a lifetime. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you like learning something a little about Caney Creek here in Ohio County, Kentucky. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. Bye, y'all.